there was this shooting, obviously, in West Texas. A guy, another one of these nuts, went out and shot a bunch of people. He was barred from buying firearms by one of these alert laws, right? A judge had ruled him mentally unfit, but he got around that and he bought the firearms anyway. So these laws do not stop people who are dedicated to killing people. They don't do anything. Seizing guns does nothing. It does nothing. And by the way, it doesn't matter what the polls say. Our rights, the Bill of Rights is about what transcends democracy. The Bill of Rights is about what transcends democracy. You can't vote away your God-given rights. It doesn't matter whether 80% of the people want to take your rights away. The Bill of Rights protects your rights from democracy, okay? That is what it's there for. Now, it won't stand. You can't build a wall of paper against the will of the people. If the will of the people is to destroy our system of government, they will destroy it whether there's a constitution or not. But that's what it's there for. And if our press were educated, if our press weren't all one-sided, they would not be quoting polls about guns. But listen to Joe Biden, dopey Joe Biden. Listen to him take this gun situation and this horrible storm that has hit the Bahamas and may hit Florida, Dorian. It has virtually wiped out part of the Bahamas. It's absolutely tragic to see the pictures of what's taken place. But listen to him just distill it into a narrative. Why? Power. Listen to Joe Biden do what the left does.
Look, it's about time the president got out of the state of denial on two really critical things. And they both came to a head this weekend. One is climate change. It is an existential threat. This guy can no longer deny the science. I mean, if we could if there were a parliamentary system, we'd call for elections tomorrow, not because we're in good or bad shape, but because we can't wait another 18 months for something to happen in terms of climate. What's he need? Does he need, Gabriel to come down and say, hey, this is a real problem? I mean, it's gigantic what's happening. The largest storm in the Atlantic, anyway. And the second one is on dealing with firearms. It is irrational, with all due respect to the governor of Texas, irrational what they're doing. On the very day you see a mass shooting, I guess the numbers now, I was on a plane the last 2.5 hours, I think up to 5 killed. And we're talking about loosening access to have guns, be able to take them into places of worship, store them in school. I mean, it's just absolutely irrational. It's totally irrational. And it's all about special interest. And it has to stop. It has to stop. The idea that we don't have elimination of assault-type weapons, magazines that can hold multiple bullets in them, is absolutely mindless.
So he's selling irrational magazine. He wants to ban magazines that have multiple bullets in them. That's what a magazine is. A magazine is something that holds multiple bullets. He's pleading for irrationality. 7 people were killed in Chicago the same weekend. 7 people were shot in Chicago the same weekend. A problem that could be solved by allowing police to go back to the kind of policing they were doing, the stop and search policing, the CompStat statistic-based policing, the no tolerance, zero tolerance policing that they were doing before. They could lower the gun deaths like that. I mean, this is a point that Heather McDonald has been making for a long, long time. They could lower gun killings like that, but they don't do it because that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about power. If you don't have guns, if the populace doesn't have guns, the government can do whatever they want without fear. And people keep saying, well, you couldn't fight the government with guns. Afghanistan, they do it in Afghanistan. You can fight the government with the guns that you get. And that's why these assault weapons, what they call assault weapons, that's why these powerful weapons are important. People should be allowed to defend themselves. They should have that capacity, even though, God forbid, they should ever have to use it. God forbid our government should get so oppressive they have to use it. But just in case, it makes the government think twice. And as for the climate change, this stuff is getting absurd. There's this girl, I'm not going to play this. Greta Thunberg, her name is. She's 16 years old. She's autistic. She's obviously got some, as she herself has said, she's got some sort of mental deficits, and they've been using her as a climate activist. And Grabian, who puts out great montages, they put out a montage that I can't bring myself to play it. It's a fair montage. It's not Grabian's fault. It's the press lauding the 16-year-old girl as the voice of the earth. She's the voice of the climate. She's going to save us all. And then it's cutting away to this poor girl trying to put out language because she's got a mental deficit. She doesn't speak well. She's obviously being used. She's obviously being used. And the reason I can't play it is I just don't want to make fun of the girl. She's a child. She's 16 years old. She shouldn't be on TV at all. It shouldn't be that they use children to put forward their narrative. They don't understand that a child has less authority, less moral authority, less wisdom than adults, because in their world, that's not true. That's not true. In Canada, they have a thing going on. I assume it's partly comical. I suppose it's partly satirical, but they want to let 8-year-olds vote because 8-year-olds say that the climate is important. Hey, we'll play this. Have we got this? Have we got this thing about go from 18 to 8? Did I put that in there? Yeah, play this. This is an ad to lower the voting age in Canada to 8 because 8-year-olds care about climate change.
Climate change, you're a threat. How many years do we have left?
Excuse me, do you guys have a moment to talk about climate change?
So this is it, HQ, or headquarters for those who don't know. Every part of the machine is integral. Can't save the world without coffee. And naps.
We polled kids across Canada and asked them to rank election issues in order of priority. 74% ranked climate change as the issue most important to them.
Climate scientists are now saying we only have 12 years left to act if we want to avoid catastrophic damage.
Downtown.
That's why we're lobbying the federal government to lower the voting age from 18 to 8. Let the kids vote! Let the kids vote! Let the kids vote! Let the kids vote!
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. They don't understand that this is an argument against climate change. If 8-year-olds think this is the most important problem we're facing, probably we should ask adults, because only 1%, I believe it is, of adults think this is the most important problem we're facing, because adults are smarter than children. They've seen more. They're wiser. They know a lot more. But this is the narrative. They will do anything to push the narrative, and they will silence anybody to push the narrative. Before you go, one last thing. Hit the subscribe button so that you stay up to date on all our content.